Hello, you absolute legends. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're a legend, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and give the video a thumbs up because it really does help me with what I'm doing. It's John here, and I've misled you a little bit. I'm really sorry in the video title because I kind of haven't bought the car recently, but I did buy it for 500 quid, and it is a Toyota MR2 MK1a, and you can see it here. It's on the screen, and we're going to talk about how it came to be and what I've done with it and why it is in my collection and what it means to me. So I've had the car 10 years now, so not recently. I bought it from a place in Peterborough called Bretton. It's like a little suburb of Peterborough, which is in Cambridgeshire, just off the A1. And my girlfriend at the time, or the girl I was seeing, was living in Bretton, and I was travelling back and forth to Peterborough. Anyway, she knew that I was into my classic cars, and I'm openly happy to talk about it. I wasn't having a great time with my head and my mental health, and I needed something to get my head stuck into. And she knew this, and she lived with this bloke who was older. He was the housemate, and he said one day, I hear you're into your classic cars. You need to go and speak to my neighbour about the TR7 that he's got on his drive. And I'd seen that there was a tarpaulin on the drive. I'd seen that it was over a car, but I had absolutely no idea what it was. And I thought, do you know what? TR7 sounds quite cool. He said, yeah, he's got it for sale. He used to drive it daily. It's blue, but he doesn't use it anymore because he's got an MX5. Okay, fine, not a problem. One morning I was leaving for work really early. I'd obviously stayed over, and I was coming back to Boston, and I saw Mr. Neighbour in his driveway and said, "Hi, good morning. The man who lives next door has told me that you've got a TR7 and potentially looking to sell it." And he said, "It's not a TR7, mate. It's an MR2. I had never heard of an MR2 in my life. Let's have a quick look then on my hard drive of it, because he took this sheet off. He pulled it off like a magician pulling off a rag on a table and revealed this beauty. There she is. This is as I found it on the driveway. And you can see it's got aftermarket wheels on. There's the MX5 on the drive. And you can see this is the Toyota that he unveiled to me. And there is my Nissan Micra. That is my K11 Nissan Micra that I was driving at the time. And this was the car then. He showed me it, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And it wasn't perfect. It was rotten all here and a little bit niggly in certain places, bottoms of doors and such, but these photographs make it look good. How much do you want for your car, mate? 500 quid. Done deal. And you can see this side obviously is a lot worse than the other. So I pretty much ran down to the local ATM and withdrew £500. And I gave him the money and said, I've got to go to work, but I'll be back tonight with a trailer to pick it up. So I rang Dad and said, Dad, I've bought a car. And we loaded it onto the trailer and we got it home, and he was absolutely furious. Furious with me that I'd bought this car, because he was adamant it was going to be absolutely posh rotten underneath, that it was going to need hours and hours and hours of welding, and that it was not going to be any good. And he would probably be right to think that. We loaded it up on this trailer that I borrowed from a friend and got it home and gave it a little bit of a bath and had a look inside. And you can see that there are things inside that weren't right. We've got this weird aftermarket gear knob. We've got this horrible aftermarket Kenwood CD player. But the guy used it. He dailied it for its life. He bought it from his brother-in-law, and you can see here in more details the rust in the wheel arches. But it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. I got in contact with the original owner, not the guy I bought it from, his brother-in-law, who sent me photographs of the car out and about in the world. These are photographs of when he owned it, before he gave it to his brother-in-law. And you can see here that he's looked after it and he loves his car. The engine bay, however, absolute state. Mechanical wise, car was in good condition, fine, needed an MOT. It sailed through, I think. And Dad and I spent hours and hours and hours working on it for the Boston Classic Car Show in time. So this is the first wash I gave it, and having a quick look at it. And you can see it's got this terrible, these terrible wheels on. Original number plates as well. Here's the car, and I bombed about in it for a few months before we restored it. Took it to work, the usual stuff, showing off a little bit. Drove it back and forth to Peterborough a few times before we got the work done. And there's the engine bay. The engine bay was really, really horrible. It doesn't look that much different to that now. So there's the car. And Dad and I spent lots of time doing bits to it. So let's take a look. We overhauled all the brakes, the exhaust. These photographs are terrible because remember, this is 10 years ago. And I had a brick of a phone. It's on a friend's drive. In fact, no, I thought that was on a driveway in Breton. It's not. We replaced the stereo with one that worked. Took it for a little spin, and then we started cutting holes in the cells. Cutting holes in the cells, replacing all the rusty old exhaust with a stainless steel, bonding in rust under the boot lid. The boot lid was posh rotten. Painting calipers and bits and pieces. That's rust. See that there? That's all rust. See that? That's Hammerite and a Foster's. When I was cool. 21. Managed to find a set of the proper wheels. They came from Wales. And the car is now starting to look a little bit better. And I found an MR2 MK1a in Peterborough that I've gone and parked next to there. And that's me parking it in my works car park at the time. I found a donor car in a scrapyard. It was a later one, but I managed to get some great stuff off it, including the original gear knob and a front windscreen trim. There we are. There's me with my knob. There's us spraying the wheels and the windscreen trim, putting on proper alloy wheels. And the gear knob's now on. And the official Space Saver wheel went on. That's us fitting the wheels, making sure they're okay. And then I took it to the Boston Classic Car Show, my very first car show in my own car, number 1. It was August. The wheels went on that morning, and I thought I was the cat that got the cream. Look at this. What a honey. There it is, done and dusted. And I cannot describe to you just how worthwhile that car was to me in my life and doing it. And this video is to talk about the car, not mental health. However, should you feel like you need to speak to somebody, do. And should you think that throwing yourself into a classic car project is the right thing to do, do. My car needed some work. It went off to a local specialist, and I documented everything before. So this is the car. Me and Dad prepped the bodywork. We got it as ready as we could, but you can see things like this all needed sorting out. So I photographed all the rust, wheel arch, interior, sill, behind some spats, bottom of the doors, driver's side, rear quarter. This was the top of the roof. The roof needed totally respraying. There was a hole under there. That was actually a hole. All the roof, and that was the boot lid. As you can see, that's why we needed to bond some bits in. Passenger's door, boot lid, just little bubbles, but obviously needed doing. And then this was doing the wheels. We don't need to look at doing the wheels. And then it came back, and we put it back together. And this is the finished product without the wheels on yet. It took me 2 days to hoover the interior out. It looked as if there had been a dog living in it when we first got it. There were so many hairs all in it. That's Dad putting some bits and pieces on last minute bits. But it came back from the paint shop and it looked as good as new. And that cost me at the time £350. Yeah, I know. The paint shop guy did me a favour. And there it is. There's the car. There is my Toyota MR2. I wanted to show it to you. There is a video coming on it soon. But I wanted to just talk to you about it because it means a lot to me. There it is. My absolute beaut. Probably the best £500 I've ever spent. Let me know what you thought to the video, and let me know what you think to this style of video, because I'm going to be doing lots of different bits and pieces in the next few weeks, few days, few months. What would you like to hear? What would you like me to talk about on the channel? Smash subscribe if you haven't already. Give the video a big thumbs up. Big. Two thumbs up too. If you haven't already. It really helps the channel. Give us a share. And if you're not following me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or the TikTok, I've got to say the TikTok because I'm old, then please do. It's John Coupland, all one word. Until next time then, take care. Thanks for watching the video. Have a great day. Goodbye.